here's the ultimate, right? We're talking about how you can eat more and lose weight. And we're going to talk about, so probably the most underrated nutrient of all time. It's completely unsexy and we've just completely overlooked it, but it is fiber. And we're going to talk about why that is. There is a reason why that nourishing smoothie or that bowl of porridge keeps you full in the morning, and why a coffee and a donut do not. I love that play on words. And I will be making a couple of product recommendations later tonight, because I just want to sort of tag that or park that tab, if you like, about what makes a nourishing smoothie. Please don't be fooled into thinking that all smoothies or all shakes, if you like, are nourishing. There's a lot out there that don't have enough of the balanced nutrients. There's a lot that don't have enough fiber or the right types of fiber. And I'm going to make some product recommendations as we go. So let's talk about this thing called fiber, okay? And it's kind of like the quiet achiever in the room. And it's one that helps you maximize your metabolism. It helps you maintain a healthy weight. And there's a myriad of other health benefits, which we'll talk about coming up. And as we talked about last week, we talked about, how we talked a lot about protein. We did talk a little bit about fiber, but protein gets a lot of the limelight, especially when it comes to satiety or that sort of feeling of fullness after a meal. But we know that fiber plays a huge role in your digestion rate and also the health of your microbiome, which we will touch on as well tonight. And this can influence everything from hunger to cravings, even your metabolic rate and the rate of weight loss. So it's a really important thing. And basically, fiber is essentially a type of carbohydrate that can be digested. And we're about to talk about what the types are and where they're found and how they all kind of come together. But basically, it kind of comes under the term of roughage, stuff that doesn't get digested. And it's basically your bestie when it comes to losing weight. And it's found in lots of high fiber foods, so things like, fruit, veggies, legumes, seeds, and whole grains. I am going to preface that. I'm going to show you where and different meals of how to kind of increase your fiber. I'm going to talk a little bit about, how much do you need and where we're at. There's also definitely a space where we are in this kind of era of carb cutting, and I want to say that yes. For most of us, pulling back a little bit on our carbohydrate intake is a sensible move, and I'm definitely not anti-carbohydrate. There's definitely a place for carbohydrate in and around exercise. For those of you who have worked with me, you'll know that I often talk about using carbohydrate as kind of the reward post-exercise, because your metabolic profile is completely different and your hormones are responding differently. But it's really important that we don't eliminate them entirely, and you're going to see why over the coming presentation. So I'm just going to pop back here and just double check, because I can't see the comments and present at the same time. So let's press on, because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions as we go. Just making sure I've got my notes in front of me, because I want to make sure I give this, do this piece justice. And one of the things that I want to sort of draw your attention to is that recent research has really highlighted how paying more attention to our gut and basically what we feed it and how we can support it is going to be really important for all of those things we've been talking about. If it's weight loss for you, maybe it's just feeling better, having more energy, not feeling quite so sort of, hitting those slumps in the day. And 4 out of 5 of us, at least that's an Australian statistic, and I'm assuming that it's similar for those for our Kiwis and for our Canadians and our American friends, that 4 out of 5 of us, we're not meeting the fiber requirements. And I was going to make a pun about 4 out of 5 of us not getting enough ... But then I thought I just wouldn't be able to keep a straight face and deliver it, the punchline. And I thought this was a really good place to start. So many puns, I just had a ball with this whole shit talk thing. Anyway, so how much fiber do you actually need? Actually, this might be a good time to go to the chat. And do you want to give me a guess or pop in the chat box, how much fiber do we need every day? Does anyone want to have a crack at how much we need? I'll just let some comments come through. And are you getting, Nick says, give us those punchlines. Oh. I haven't got anyone having a crack. I'll give you 2 more seconds to have a go. There might be a slight delay with those numbers coming through. Nick says, I have no clue. Okay. Well, that's good. I was thinking this is like typical dietitian talk, but Wendy, nice. 30 grams, my friend. Here we go. Iris said 25 grams. I've got a few, no idea. That's good. This means that this is all relevant. So, according to our Australia healthy eating guidelines, we should be aiming for about 25 to 30 grams. So Iris and Wendy, you are bang on the money. And but it goes one step further, and that for weight loss benefits, we should be aiming, so women should be aiming for at least 28 grams, this is very specific, 28 grams plus of fiber per day, and men 38 grams for men. I think maybe because it's due to sort of larger body size, that'll make sense soon. Now the thing is, I mentioned that there was 4 out of 5 Aussies who don't meet the fiber recommendations. It's not bad. Most of us on average get about 20 grams of fiber, which that's okay, but it could be better. And especially if we want to see the weight loss benefits and we want to see some, gut shifting benefits where we can kind of help and shape our microbes to kind of do more for us. So again, we've got this kind of thing. If we show our microbes some love, we're going to get some love in return, and that's going to be feeling better, being able to achieve a healthy, body weight, etc. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is dietary fiber, because it's a big blanket term, and it's basically the term that's applied to all of the components of essentially plant foods that aren't digested or absorbed in the small intestine, okay? And so these compounds will either completely or partially ferment in the large bowel, and they'll contribute in a big way to our gut health, and also the diversity and the health, essentially, of our microbiome. And it's really important to remember that our gut is kind of like one long tube. So basically from our mouths right through to our way out, okay? And basically, like any other muscle in our body, it needs exercise, and fiber is part of that. All right, now I'm going to talk, let's jump right into it now. I'm going to just pull up the next slide. Okay. So we're going to talk a bit about the types of fiber and what they do. I'm just going to make sure you guys can see that clearly. Yep, okay. Sorry that the font is quite small. We're going to work out a way, guys, to get these notes to you if you're finding this this information useful. So hang tight for that. So let's have a little look at the types of fiber, okay? So let's start with resistant starch. So resistant starch is a type of carbohydrate that is not digested, but it's fermented by our gut bacteria. And this kind of type of fiber is known as a prebiotic. And I've got a recommendation for you guys. Essentially, it's like food for our bacteria, right? So it's found in things like legumes, so lentils, beans, chickpeas, seeds, grains. It's particularly high in green bananas. So for those of you who cook with green bananas, it's a really good one. I'm not too sure about chowing down on a green banana. It's kind of starchy and not very sweet. But potato and rice, and particularly, this is a bit weird for those of you who like cold chips, Nick Robertson, if you like, I know you're a chip girl, there's actually quite a lot of resistant starch in cooked then cooled potatoes, because our body finds it quite hard to digest those kind of sort of granular parts of the potato, but there's nothing like hot chips, so I'm not sure if that helps you out or that's made it worse for you, and so it can really depend on how that food was prepared. So that's resistant starch. There is one particular type of resistant starch or prebiotic fiber that I like, and it's coming up, but it's called acacia fiber, and I've got a brand that I like. It's an organic acacia fiber. You can get online. And what I'll do, guys, if you guys would like, I can definitely post some links at the end of this webinar, and you can, if it's something that you think you'd like to include, it's a really simple way of being able to get some prebiotic fiber, especially if you're doing something like smoothies, or you can just stick it in a glass of water and kind of tick that box. But let's talk about soluble fiber. So soluble fiber is basically, it's true to its name, and it dissolves in water. It forms like a gel-like substance. So it's a bit like clag. And this kind of fiber slows down digestion. It's actually the main type of fiber in the smoothie or the shake that I recommend. And it slows everything down and keeps us fuller for longer, which is a really good thing. And it's found in things like psyllium husk legumes. Again, all of our, those really high fiber legumes, as I said, oats, ground flax seeds, peanut butter, and bananas tend to be really rich sources of soluble fiber. And I told you we're having poo talk tonight. So if we're doing this right, I really need to explain about what happens in our gut, right? So you think of this a bit like clag, right? It's like the glue that binds your poo together, right? But you need to get the balance right. So if you have too much of this type of fiber, sometimes it can basically it can bind you up. All right. So you definitely need the balance of getting the roughage, which is insoluble fiber, which comes in next. Sorry, guys, I've got this dodgy light that I bought off eBay and it's terrible. So I'm just going to switch, just keeps flashing. It's really freaky at night when I'm working at 11 o'clock at night. It just starts kind of like flickering and it's all a bit weird. So back to insoluble fiber. So insoluble fiber is essentially, it doesn't dissolve in water and it forms the bulk. All right. So it's like a bulking agent. It draws water into the bowel. And then you've got soluble fiber, which is like that clag. So it's like nice and it forms, basically you're going for a nice sausagey kind of poo. Okay, that is the ultimate poo to have. So I did tell you this is going to be about. This is all about poo talk, and I wasn't kidding when we said that. Okay. And the last type of fiber is called functional fiber, and it's basically taken from the food that's found in it and it's added to processed foods to increase the fiber density. So this is things like Metamucil fits into this, Benifiber. So basically they've taken the sort of the fiber component in food and or naturally found in food and made it kind of a supplement. Chicory root extract, or it's also known as inulin, is another type of this sort of functional fiber, and you'll find it in lots of different processed foods. And this can increase your fiber intake, but the best way to do it is really go for those top three, and then obviously you can support your the rest of your fiber intake, because those targets are pretty high. If you can aim for 30 grams of fiber a day, you are killing it.